Hey folks, today we finished up the character trait for August on responsibility. Now, I have not used the word self-control much during this month, but you need to understand that self-control is predicated upon responsibility. In other words, until someone becomes responsible, they can truly not possess self-control. Now, there's two thoughts I want to share that's so very important for us as parents when we seek to teach our kids to be responsible. And the first one is this. Our goal is not to produce good kids, it's to produce great parents. Our goal is not to produce good kids. Our ultimate goal is to create great parents. Hang on to that thought for a second. Secondly, from the moment our child comes to our lives, the goal is to prepare them to leave our lives, whether that's at 18 or 20 or 25, however God would work in our kids' lives. So those two things, we're not to raise good kids, we're about raising great parents. And when our kids come into our home, we want to start training them to be responsible to leave our home. Now, why are those two thoughts important? I shared last week from Proverbs 14:4, one of my favorite proverbs, where there's no oxen, the stable stays clean, but with much oxen comes much increase. I share with you that sometimes teaching responsibility, true responsibility, can be messy at times. And so that's why it's important to have these visions that I just share with you, producing great parents, not just good kids, and preparing our kids to leave as soon as they're born. Because what happens, we'll tend to shortcut that in some capacity. We'll want to look good as parents and get social mileage out of our kids. And what we'll do, if our kids start to make a mess, we'll run in and clean it up right quickly so we can look good. Does that make sense? Teaching responsibility, again, can be messy. And what makes it more difficult as homeschoolers, there are some folks who are just very judgmental. They're very condemning. And if your child takes one step backwards, they're right there to give commentary. But as parents, we're not just seeing the one step backwards, we're seeing the 2 steps or 3 steps forward, if that makes sense. And so we've got to keep our eyes on the prize, lest we let other folks conform us to their image, rather than seeing our kids conform to the image of God through a natural process of sanctification and spiritual growth. Very, very, very important. So today I want to encourage you. Our goal is not to raise good kids, but to raise great parents. And secondly, when our kids come into our home, our goal is to prepare them to leave our home. And I think when we really think about that, talk about it as spouses, what does that mean? What's the ramifications? What's the implications of that in how we're raising our kids? I think we'll be less concerned about what other people think, more concerned about what God thinks. And rather than having everybody else's acceptance, we'll have the hearts of our kids instead. And that is a good transaction. This is Kirk Smith with ICHE's Take 5.